But some, moved by these and similar reasonings, said that no intellectual substance can be the form of a body. But since the very nature of man seemed to contradict this position, which seems to be composed of an intellectual soul and a body, they devised certain ways by which to save the nature of man. Plato, therefore, and his followers maintained that the intellectual soul is not united to the body as a form of matter, but only as a moving motor, saying that the soul is in the body as a sailor in a ship. And thus the union of soul and body would not exist except through the contact of power, of which it was said above. But this seems inconvenient. For according to the aforesaid contact, something does not simply become one, as has been shown, and from the union of soul and body man is made. It is therefore left that man is not simply one, and consequently he is not a being simply, but a being by accident. To avoid this, Plato held that man is not something composed of soul and body, but that the soul itself using the body is man. As Peter is not something composed of a man and a garment, but a man using a garment. But this is shown to be impossible, for animal and man are sensible and natural things. But this would not be the case if the body and its parts were not of the essence of man and animal, but the whole essence of both was the soul, according to the aforesaid position, for the soul is not something sensible or material. Therefore, it is impossible for man and animal to be a soul using a body, but not something composed of body and soul. Again, it is impossible that there should be one operation of things which are different in being. Now I say one operation, not from the part of it in which the action ends, but according to that which proceeds from the agent. For many who pull a ship do one action from the part worked on, which is one, but still from the part of the towing. There are many actions because there are different impulses to be drawn. For since action succeeds to form and virtue, it is necessary that those whose forms and virtues are different must also have different actions. But although there is some activity proper to the soul, in which the body does not share, such as understanding, yet there are certain operations common to both self and body, such as fearing and being angry and feeling and the like. For these things happen according to some transformation of some determined part of the body, from which it is clear that they are the same operations of soul and body. But this reason is met with according to the opinion of Plato, for there is nothing incongruous about the mover and the moved being the same act, although they differ in being. Thus, then, Plato held that the presupposed operations are common to the soul and the body. That is to say, the soul is as the mover and the body as the moved. But this cannot be, because, as the philosopher proves in De Anima II, it happens to feel itself moved by external sensibility. Hence, a man cannot feel without an external perceptible thing, just as nothing can be moved without being moved. The organ of sense is therefore moved and suffered in feeling, but from the external sensible. Now that which is suffered is sense, which is clear from this, because they do not suffer from sensibility in such a way as to be lacking in sense. Sense, therefore, is a passive power of the organ itself. Therefore, the sensitive soul is not in feeling as moving and acting, but as that by which the sufferer suffers. It is impossible to be different according to being from the patient. Therefore, the sensible soul is not different from the animate body in its being. In addition, although motion is the common act of the mover and the moved, yet it is a different operation to make a motion and to receive a motion, whence the two predicates are put to do and to suffer. If therefore in feeling, the sensitive soul behaves as the agent and the body as the sufferer, The operation of the soul will be one, and that of the body. Therefore, the sensitive soul will have some activity of its own. It will therefore also have its own subsistence. Therefore, when the body is destroyed, it does not cease to exist. Therefore, the sensitive souls, even of irrational animals, will be immortal. This indeed seems improbable. However, it does not disagree with Plato's opinion, but there will be a place to inquire about this below. Further, a mobile does not draw its appearance from its motor. If therefore the soul is not joined to the body except as a moving motor, the body and its parts do not derive their appearance from the soul. Therefore, when the soul departs, the body and its parts will remain of the same kind. But this is manifestly false, for flesh and bone and hands and such parts are not spoken of except equivocally after the soul has departed, when none of these parts has its proper operation, which results in appearance. Therefore the soul is not united to the body only as a moving motor, or as a man with clothing. Still, a mobile does not have to be by its own motor, but only by motion. If therefore the soul is united to the body only so as to move, the body will indeed be moved by the soul, but it will not have its existence through it. But to live is a kind of existence of the living. Therefore the body does not live through the soul. Again, the mobile is neither generated by the application of a motor to it, nor destroyed by its separation, since the mobile does not depend on the motor to exist, but only to be moved. If, therefore, the soul is united to the body only as a motor, it follows that there will be no generation in the union of soul and body, nor corruption in the separation. And so, death, which consists in the separation of soul and body, will not be the corruption of an animal, which is manifestly false. In addition, everything that moves itself is in such a way that it is in itself to be moved and not to be moved, and to move and not to be moved. But the soul, according to Plato's opinion, moves the body as it moves itself. It is therefore in the power of the soul to move the body or not. If, therefore, it is not united to it except as a moving motor, it will be in the power of the soul to separate from the body when it wills, and to unite with it again when it wills, which is obviously false. Now, the fact that the soul is united to the body in its own form is proved in this way. That by which something is made of the power of an actual being is its form and act. But the body, through the soul, actually becomes a being from existing power, for to live is to be the being of the living. But the seed before animation is living only in potentiality, but through the soul it becomes living actually. Therefore, the soul is the form of an animated body. Further, because to be as well as to work is not only of form, nor only of matter, but is attributed to two things together, to be and to act, the one of which is related to the other as form is to matter. For we say that a man is healthy in body and health, and that he is a knower with knowledge in the soul, whose knowledge is the form of a knowing soul, and the health of a healthy body. Now to live and to feel is attributed to the soul and the body, for we are said to live and feel both soul and body, but the soul is still like the beginning of life and sense. Therefore the soul is the form of the body. Still, in the same way the whole sensitive soul is related to the whole body as a part is to a part. Now, the part is thus related to the part which is its form and its act, for sight is the form and act of the eye. Therefore the soul is the form and act of the body.